Welcome and thank you for attending tonight's forum for candidates seeking Carroll County Magistrate in Districts 1, 2, and 3. Tonight's forum is sponsored by the News Democrat, Carroll County High School FFA, and the Drama Club. I'm Jeff Moore, publisher of the News Democrat, and will serve as your moderator along with News Democrat editor Kristen Beck, and FFA Secretary Clara Tuttle is our timer tonight again. I'd like to briefly review the format and rules for tonight's forum. Prior to the start of the forum, candidates drew for the order in which they are seated by district. That's the order that will be asking questions as we rotate through the districts. None of the candidates have seen or had access to questions they will be asked. The News Democrat staff has developed questions that we'll be asking tonight, and we do have the others that are submitted by the audience that we will be reviewing for use in the forum. We will begin with a 1-minute introduction by everyone, which will then be followed by the questions. They have been assigned time limits on each question between 1 and 2 minutes. The green light will come on for a 20-second warning. That will be followed by the red light over here that will come on at 5 seconds, and so that'll tell you have those 5 seconds to finish wrapping up. When it goes off, your time is up. So please try to stay within your time so that we don't have to stop you. Our goal is to spend about 2 hours through the discussion. We'll take a break around 7 o'clock so everyone can stretch, and then we'll get restarted for the second hour. We'll get through as many questions as possible, and then at the end of the segments, we will have 90 seconds for the closing remarks. A brief rebuttal period will be offered after the closing remarks in case it is necessary. For the audience, we ask that you refrain from clapping or making other noise during the forum. We'll reserve time at the end to thank the candidates for their participation this evening. So let's get started. In District 1, we have incumbent Floyd Bowling, Clyde Rowlett, and Gerda Wise. All are Democrats on the ticket. Benji Long, the Republican, did not choose to attend tonight because he is unopposed. In District 2, we have Democratic candidates Cable and Cody Hembree. Incumbent Democrat Kerry Graham had to be out of town and could not attend this evening. In District 3, we have incumbent Mark Bates, Democrat Mona Kindoll, and Republican Damon Lewis. Democrat Bobby Snow said he was unable to attend this evening because he has to work. You can see that in each of the races, Mr. Bowling won the number 1 position, Mr. Cable, and Ms. Kindoll. So we'll be going through the rotation that way. But we'll start out this evening with the opening remarks and go straight through, and we'll begin with you, Mr. Bowling. You have 60 seconds.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank News Democrat and FFA for having us this morning. And I'm Floyd Bowling. I'm having a lot of time, a lot of years in. Been here 48 years, lived here 48 years with my wife, Georgia. I want to thank you for having us.
Yes. Mr. Rowlett, you have 60 seconds.
Yes, my name's Clyde Rowlett. I was born and raised in Carroll County. I've lived in District 1 since 1989. I married my wife, Christy. We got together in 92, got married in 97. We have 4 children and 10 grandchildren. No great-grandchildren, y'all. Thank you, Lord. I retired from Kentucky Utilities 2 years ago this coming May after 36 years of service. I was an coal-yard supervisor there. I joined the Westside Volunteer Fire Department in 1996 and became the chief of the Volunteer Fire Department in 2001. I would like to take my love of helping people to the next step. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Wise, you have 60 seconds.
My name is Gerda Wise, and I was born in Carroll County in 1961. I was brought home to my farm on Dripping Springs. We had to sell a farm and then move to town. I have a wonderful mother and father, Eva and Archie Ford, a wonderful husband, Jeff Wise, 2 wonderful sons, Zach and Jacob Wise. I graduated from the University of Louisville with my bachelor's back in 1984 Then went on to also get a master's. Actually, I have 2 different masters, one from Georgetown College and one from the University of Cumberland. My decision to run for a magistrate was not something I decided to do overnight. I did months of soul searching before I made my decision. I want to be the voice for the people of District 1 to ensure that their needs are met. I will be relentless in my efforts to represent each and every person. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Cable, over to you for 60 seconds.
Thank you. For those who don't know me, I'm Clay Cable. I've resided in Carroll County for the past 36 years. Married to my beautiful wife, Lisa. We have 3 children, 6 grandchildren. I'm employed with United Rentals Corporation as a branch manager. I attend St. John's Catholic Church. I graduated from Trimble County High School. Sorry about that, but I had to move myself in. My wife made me move, so I came over here. I'm a veteran of the United States Army of 6 years. I like to play music, which you all have seen me out in the public doing that a lot. I enjoy doing that probably better than anything I do. Woodworking and spending time with my family. Thank all of you for coming tonight. I hope you enjoyed this forum. I want to thank the News Democrat, FFA, and the Drama Club. I am a Democratic candidate for District Number 2. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hembree, you have 60 seconds.
Hello everyone, and thanks for coming. I feel that knowledge is power, and by publicly informing our citizens, we're able to put you back in charge of your communities and your local government. Thanks to the News Democrat for partnering with the FFA and the Drama Club to make this event possible. Taking a moment to introduce myself, I am Cody Hembree. I'm a lifetime resident of Carroll County. I did graduate from Carroll County High School, and I continue my education at Cincinnati State. I'm now a firefighter paramedic, a safety director, and an entrepreneur. Serving the community that I love has always been my passion. I've been a volunteer for the Gen Fire Protection District for 6 years, served on the ambulance, and I'm now asking for your vote as Magistrate of District 2 so that I can help grow the community that I love. I do not yet have any children, but I do, however, have amazing supportive family that have been lifetime residents as well. I do hope to one day raise a family of my own here in this amazing community, and I'm running for magistrate for the sole purpose of moving this county forward so that my children, your children, and their children have all the wonderful opportunities and tools for the most success possible. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Kindoll, you have 60 seconds.
Hi everybody, I'm Mona Kindoll, and I've been a resident of Carroll County my entire life, actually living in 3rd District all that time. I've been employed right here in the county for the last 29 years at PMC Organometallics, where my current position is Human Resources Generalist. I'm married to Bob Kindoll, when we will celebrate our 39th anniversary in November. We have 1 child, McKenna, who will graduate from the University of Kentucky here in a couple of weeks. I'm a graduate of Sullivan University, where I studied accounting and small business management. I have my Kentucky real estate license that are currently in escrow. I have also obtained level 5 certification, which is the highest level with the Kentucky School Board Association. I previously served our community as a commissioner on the Carroll County Water District for a period of 10 years. I also was fortunate enough to be elected to the Carroll County Board of Education, where I served 12 years. I'm excited about the possibility to serve the 3rd District as your magistrate.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lewis, you have 60 seconds.
Good evening. I'm Damon Lewis. I'm running for the Magistrate 3rd District on the Republican ticket. I'm 48 years old, lifelong resident of the county. My lovely wife Jennifer and I have been married for 15 years. We live on the family farm on Sharon Road between Gent and Sanders. We have 3 children and 6 grandchildren. My beliefs are pretty straightforward and simple. First and foremost, I believe in the God Almighty, family, country, and the right to bear arms. I believe other taxpayers' money is as hard-earned as mine and should be spent wisely. I believe in a conservative budget with priorities in order. I believe all questions and concerns raised by the public deserve some kind of an answer. I believe just because it's always been done that way, it doesn't make it the right way. And I believe in the people of District 3. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bates, you have 60 seconds.
My name is Mark Bates. I currently serve as your 3rd District Magistrate for the past 4 terms. I've got 38 years experience in industry. I graduated from high school in 1980. 2007, I continued my education, graduated from UK Gatton School of Business with a degree in business administration. I had the pleasure of serving on the Gent Fire Board and several other organizations in our community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That completes the opening statements, so we will begin with the questioning. And for this one, we will begin with Mr. Cable. We'll move to start at District 2 and then go through from there. We'll be rotating through. So you get the first question on this one. Aren't you lucky?
Just excited, go ahead.
Okay, here's your first question. During the Judge Executive Forum, all candidates agreed that Carroll County is not looking good. Trash litters the roadways and some properties look like junkyards. While the county has a nuisance ordinance, it was mentioned that it requires a neighbor to file a complaint against another neighbor for any action to be taken. The county does not have a code enforcement officer to make citations. Do you believe this ordinance needs to be changed? Additionally, what do you believe needs to happen to clean up the roadsides?
Well, myself, I believe that the ordinance does need to be changed where you
And
don't
this is
pit-
90 seconds, sorry.
that you don't pit one neighbor against another. Sometimes that puts people in an awkward position. I've been there myself, and it's not a really good place to be. The county does need to be cleaned up. We have several places in the county. A lot of them, when you come into the county from every direction, we look like a dump. We just do. It's terrible. And I think there can be a lot of things done with the municipalities that are included into my district, and working with the other two magistrates, and working with all the people of the communities to clean the mess up. It didn't get there in a day. It's not going to get cleaned up in a day. But if we make an effort to start, and we see progress, and we can continue down that road and make this a prettier county to live in. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Hembree, you have 90 seconds.
I'm in full agreement that there's areas of our county that definitely could use cleaned up. That's definitely no debate on that. As far as the ordinance that as it stands, it shouldn't be the job of the neighbor to have to file a formal complaint because we live in this community. It's a small community. We deal with these people daily. It's much easier to deal with things on a personal level sometimes if a neighbor goes to another and expresses their concerns sometimes. But as far as filing a formal complaint and expecting the county to step in and take that complaint further could cause some real harm in relationships with neighbors and could actually make the problems much worse. That definitely needs to be addressed, and I would like to see the county take a stance and somehow by promoting someone to a position of code enforcement while we're doing other things, we can easily see issues in the community and address those at a county level without having to require our citizens to do that. But it's a pride thing, and we should definitely encourage people to take pride in their community. And once we start making changes, it's going to be much easier in the long run to keep it going that way.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Kindoll, you have 90 seconds on that question.
Thank you. I do believe the way the nuisance ordinance is currently written, it does not have to be a neighbor. I do believe that the waste management coordinator would also have the ability to start the process for something that's along the lines that falls under the nuisance ordinance. And so I think it does not fall just strictly on the neighbors. I think the county, our employees, and our fiscal court, when we see something that needs to be addressed, I think we need to take it up and address it. Our county has a lot of areas that need a lot of improvement. And we have to do the right thing, whether it's our neighbor or whether it's not. If we want what's best for Carroll County, people should step forward and file complaints. But at the same time, the county, and if we need to change the ordinance, and if I've misunderstood it, we need to address that in the ordinance, because we need to take responsibility for our county as leaders, and we need to go ahead and make the first step to get those changes made.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lewis, you have 90 seconds.
As far as the trash on the roadsides, I would be in for using nonviolent, some of the prisoners. As far as the nuisance I don't know why we can't have some kind of a, maybe like a confidential hotline you can make a call. And that's the 2 main points I wanted to make, but yeah, it isn't a problem. We need to address it. So that's all I've got. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bates, you have 90 seconds.
Yes, the nuisance ordinance was adopted back in 2003 or something like that. And it's probably time to make some changes, but the ordinance is currently written where anybody can file a complaint and bring it to our attention. I've done several myself throughout the period since I've been there, and the people has addressed it. Is it time to look at it again and maybe readdress it and come up with a better solution to help curb some of these curbside issues we have? Certainly. And, it's probably time to visit that. At the time it was passed, it was a very emotional and topic, but that was 10, 12 years ago. People has changed. Their concept of what we really need has changed. So, it's probably time. Roadside maintenance, we've been addressing those issues as time permits. We've hired extra help to go around and pick up the roadside trash and stuff, and doing the the brush removal of the roadways with the equipment that we currently have, and working with the state, and we'll continue to do that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bowling, over to you for 90 seconds.
I think it's time for the ordinance to have some updates to it, make it a little stronger and a little more back to it. And we have been cleaning county roadsides for the last 2 or 3 weeks. We have a lot of calls on the state roads, which we're not allowed to do. All we can do is call the state and ask them to do it, but they've had a lot of roadside things here in the last 90 to 120 days and not been able to get to it. But I do believe that we can do some changes in the ordinance, and we'd see a better change out of it. And local people can pick the phone up and call the solid waste. And he'd be happy to meet with them and see if he can challenge the problem.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Rowlett, you have 90 seconds.
Yes, we do have a trash problem in Carroll County, but I don't believe in putting neighbor against neighbor. I've been there, and it's not a good thing. One thing we need to check on before we go fuss about a person's trash is check on a person. It may be an elderly or somebody that can't help it. Maybe they need assistance from a human being to help them. And we do need maybe some code enforcement officers, but one thing I would like to check in on, I've heard it said a lot, we had 3 constables getting mailbox checks. Can we not use them? I don't know. I mean, looks like it'd be a good place to put them to use. They're $450 a month. How many hours are they going to spend doing this, I mean, come on, people. We're giving money away to constables. We're worried about people's trash and cleaning it up. I mean, come on. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Wise, 90 seconds.
Our current nuisance ordinance, as Ms. Kindoll mentioned, does allow for the John Kyle to actually go in there and write the nuisance ordinance on his own. However, after speaking with John, he doesn't think that is his job. So I believe then our current nuisance ordinance needs to be rewritten so that we are able to address. Code enforcement would help get the county cleaned up. I know that our small communities in Carroll County are meeting and are wanting the assistance of the Carroll County code enforcement person. So it looks like to me that we're in need of someone for the county. And so I definitely think that we need to be proactive in our approach and attack this from all areas. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll shift down and begin this question with District 3. So Ms. Kindoll, you'll be the first to respond on that one. And this is another question you'll have 90 seconds on. Candidates at last night's sheriff forum agreed that to provide 24/7 coverage to all parts of the county needs more deputies to make that happen. This also would provide additional time for the department to battle issues such as the drug epidemic. But the decision on this rests with fiscal court because magistrates and the judge executive control the sheriff's budget. Explain your position on this.
Thank you. We absolutely need more support for our sheriff's department. Right now, the total budget, 6% of the total budget is allocated to the sheriff's department. That's not enough. We need more patrols. We need to support the officers that we have out there. We do need to see more visibility in our outlying areas, our Sanders, our Gents, our Worthvilles. If they can make rounds, just make their presence known, that's going to deter a lot of crime that could possibly happen. But the Sheriff's Department has my full support. I absolutely think that we need to add additional deputies. One of the issues last night that was brought up was seeing the sheriff deputies in town. Well, a lot of people have to remember that that's where their base is at. Their base is in town. So they're going to have to come to town to get their orders. They're going to have to come to town to pick up the papers and stuff they need to serve, to the individuals out in the community. But overall, the Sheriff's Department has my full support, and I would certainly look at ways to increase their budget. 6% of our budget is just not enough for law enforcement. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Mr. Lewis, you have 90 seconds.
Yeah, last night was a big opener as far as the sheriff's department goes. With all the industry, it's not just the opioids, but when all the guys from the industries get off, they like to have some drinks and dealing with that, and the driving DUIs. It puts a big toll on the sheriff's office, and I commend them greatly. And there's no reason why we can't get them a little more help. So I'm all behind that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Bates, you have 90 seconds.
Yes, certainly we have been addressing those issues about extra manpower for the Sheriff's Department. It's no big secret. The Sheriff's Department's been a disarray up till the last year or two, and now it's headed in the right direction. Since the appointment of Sheriff Marshall, we've been able to fund 2 extra deputies, a full-time and a part-time, and he's soliciting for more people. We took steps to upgrade the pay for the police officers as they attain their license, so we can retain and recruit people who wants to work in the police department, in the sheriff's department. And a better cooperation between other agencies. We're beginning to see that again, so I believe it's turning around. The Sheriff's Department has always had our full support for funding. We have never denied any funding or any manpower shortage. We've hired part-time help to help them through crisis as they send off officers to get training. We buy them new vehicles, and certainly the Sheriff's Department will tell you they have our full support. And that is one of our goals, but to get people trained in a systematic way and to recruit employees. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bowling, you have 90 seconds.
I'm almost on that to ditto that, but it's we have been recruiting, they have been recruiting more officers. We have reduced more funding to them, but they have strived and improved the Sheriff's Department for the last couple of years by Sheriff Marshall. They've actually got more equipment. They've got, I think, some computers ordered. But we are 100% for the Sheriff's Department. We have not denied them the first dollar. So I think we're on the road to building the Sheriff's Department and hoping we can continue to do so. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Rowlett, you have 90 seconds.
Yes, I believe we do need to encourage the sheriff and build his department up, and the sheriff, I'll be the one to say the deputies he has. And what I can't figure out, I have not seen the city's budget, but how come we can staff the city 24/7, we can't the county? I mean, and it's kind of sad too, we've lost good deputies over the years. They've had to leave the county, go to the city, make more money and better benefits, and we need to take care of that issue. Yes, we do need a sheriff's department built up. I done talked to some of the candidates. They said if they had the deputies, they could work on the drug problem. They could not end the drug problem. They could help slow it down. And that's what we need to do. We need to be worried more about taking care of our public, taking care of our county, taking care of our people. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Wise, 90 seconds.
I absolutely agree with all of our candidates here. We definitely need a stronger police department, and especially in our county. I hear it over and over visiting in District 1 that it takes, if on the weekend, if no one is available, it takes our state police sometimes 2.5 hours. Even in Prestonsville, some of the people in Prestonsville told me it took a really long time for the police to arrive. So I think that will help us with many, many issues that our county is facing, which we will talk about, I'm sure, shortly. So thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Cable, you have 90 seconds.
I too am in favor of increasing law enforcement in the county. I was one of them guys, and I know what it's like to be out there by yourself. It's a tough position to be in, regardless of whether you're working for the city or you're working for the county. The county needs good deputies. They need to retain the good deputies. They need to keep people out there that gets to know the people they're working for. Stop and say hello. Our sheriff's department is a lot better now than it was a few years ago. They're building up. They've got more deputies now than they had, and they seem to be growing. And I like to see them out there curbing the drug problem. They're not going to stop it. We all know that, but at least we can put a curb on it. If their presence is out there and they're seen, it will slow it down. There's places out in the county that are hard to get to. When you have to run from one end of the county to the other, it's a difficult job. But they do it, and I think the deputies we have now do it very well. And I'm proud of all of them, and I'm proud of our sheriff's department for being what they are. And I'm glad that they're out there protecting me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hembree, you have 90 seconds.
I work very closely with these guys on a very regular basis. And first off, hats off to them for doing what they do every day with the minimum amount of people that they have. They are doing great work, but the county owes more to them. There's an obvious need for more deputies due to several different things. The crime is out there, obviously. One deputy on shift is not able to handle the amount of calls. Pretty frequently, several calls are coming in at one time. The workload is astronomical. If you were here last night, you got to see and hear some of the things that they're responsible for as well, other than responding to 911 calls. And there's also a safety aspect there. We're asking these guys to go out to the far ends of the county by themselves with backup not coming for a long time. I plan to work closely with the elected sheriff as well as all department heads to help them propose a budget that both increases the number of deputies that they allow and to get coverage more close to the 24/7 that this county really needs. I also really would like to see more mutual aid agreements with the Kentucky State Police and the City of Carrollton. And that's what I plan to work with the next sheriff to make all that happen so we're better covered in the county.
Okay, thank you so much. That completes that question. This next one, we'll go with 60 seconds. It's one that you can probably do with a shorter answer on. The Centers for Disease Control ranks Carroll County 67th out of the nation's nearly 4,400 counties at risk of a major outbreak of HIV and/or hepatitis C as the result of the opioid and drug epidemic here. To prevent a crisis here like they recently saw over in some nearby Indiana counties, Three Rivers District Health Department has renewed its request for a needle exchange program in Carroll County. Please explain your position in allowing the needle exchange program to come in here. Mr. Rowlett, we begin with you on this one, and you have 60 seconds.
I couldn't even last 90 seconds on the other, so I last 60 on this one. I don't believe in a needle exchange. Like I say, it just brings more problems into our county. You know, it's what causes us more of a headache. I believe we need to do something to take care of the drug problem instead of just keep adding to it. You know, when you're telling them you go give them a clean needle, that just tell them to do it. That's the way I look at it. You know, I gotta say, there is hope out there for people. I can remember back when I was young, I'd done the dumb stuff of the drinking and the drugs. I haven't touched a thing since 2001. There is hope out there. We need to give them the hope to change their lives and not to give them a way to keep continuing what they're doing. Thank you.
Ms. Wise, you have 60 seconds.
Having listened to the presentation at physical court and having researched this topic extensively, at this point in my thinking and in my research, I am not in favor of the program because the surrounding counties do not have it. Now you're asking why the surrounding counties don't have it. Well, they don't have it, so where are those people that are addicted, where are they going to come? So what Boone, Kenton, and Campbell have done is they are researching and attacking the problem together. So they're starting their needle exchange together and they're doing it together. So at this point in time, I would say no, but it isn't off the table if that's what the research says will help our HIV, our Hep C problem and getting those dirty needles out of the ditches. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Cable, you have 60 seconds after we get you a mic. Unfortunately, we only have 3 mics over there, so a lot of sharing has to go on. Thank you.
My stance on that is I too at this point in time am opposed to it. There's 97 counties in the state of Kentucky that doesn't have a needle exchange program. 23 do. We've seen what happened in the surrounding counties over in Indiana. I don't think it's the right time. I don't think enough research has been put into this to find out if this is a positive or a negative. So at this time, I'm really not going to be in favor of doing that in our county. I don't believe in telling my grandchildren it's okay to do drugs, and that's basically what we would be doing, from my opinion, if we allow that to happen here. I don't think anybody wants to see this county become a dumping ground for needles. There's a lot of it out there on the roadsides, believe me. Go out walking, you'll find them that are there. So at this time, without the research to back it up, I'm opposed to it. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Hembree, 60 seconds.
Been going a little bit longer on this one, but to start off, the argument that this could create a dumping ground for Carroll County has not spent enough time out in this community. The problem is here. But I'll be the first to say I was completely against this program until I looked into it deeper, went to a couple of meetings about it, understood what the purpose of this is. It is extremely important to differentiate between treatment of an opioid crisis and a healthcare crisis, which is what this needle exchange program is for. Being fiscally responsible starts at the local level, and the cost for a taxpayer to pay for treatment over a lifetime for HIV and hepatitis greatly outweighs the cost of supplying these clean syringes and needles for users. If it's going to protect our kids and our community from a healthcare crisis and your tax dollars, I'm 100% for it. But I would like to see more information on the amount of contribution from the county.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Kindoll, you have 60 seconds.
I was fortunate enough to attend the physical court meeting the day that the health department made their presentation. And actually there are 14 people in Carroll County right now that have HIV. One of those is confirmed from drug use. I can see both sides of this story. The exchanging needles, in one sense of the word, I can see where it would be beneficial if they bring a needle back and we give them another needle. It keeps them off our playgrounds, it keeps them off out of our ditches. But at the same time, at this point, if I had to make a decision today, I would say I'm against it. I would have to do a lot more research. I'd have to see a lot more statistics. There are actually 45 counties in Kentucky that have the exchange program right now. So there's 120 counties in Kentucky, only 45 have it. Not everybody's jumping on board, so I think we need to take our time, and before I would make any decision, I'd do a lot more research.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lewis, you have 60 seconds.
Yeah, I'm totally against this. you know, this affects all people of, you know, all races, ages, and income. I had a family member that was clean for roughly 2 years, and you know, she got back, or you know, they got back under the influence of the drugs, and they get so loaded, they get to the point where, you know, they don't want to take care of their own kids, they don't want to take care of their own appearance, so they're not going to take time and the gumption to take a used needle back and get it clean. They would just soon, you know, use that same needle, because that's just how their mind works when they get that in their system. That's, you know, it's sad, but I'm totally against it.
Okay. Mr. Bates, you have 60 seconds.
Well, I too had the opportunity to listen to the Three Rivers District on several occasions, not just the other day. We currently I've reached out to 22 other counties that's currently have the needle exchange. They're very limited hours, 3 hours a week. A lot of them is all they're doing it. So I'm still researching the issue and all that. But you know, once again, right today it would be no, just because of lack of information on how does it affect after you put it in and that sort of thing. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bowling, you have 60 seconds.
Well, right at the time, I'm against it. We did have the Three Rivers into the courtroom, and once we listened to the program and what they had, my belief is you don't turn one needle in and get 30, and I'm sure that'd be the same thing that would happen in a return for new needles. So I don't think it would be good for our county unless they prove me otherwise. You know, I'll stick firm to my belief. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That completes the round on that one. This next question is one submitted by the audience, and it looks like one that we'll try to assign 60 seconds to, and then we'll have one more before we go to the break. This one begins with Mr. Hembree. Many people believe Carroll County is stagnant as for progress in many areas. What are your plans to at least catch up Carroll County to other counties or make them more progressive?
To start off, one thing that immediately needs to happen is addressing the trash like we spoke about earlier. Finding a way to beautify the area, but only because, well, one, it's a pride thing, it needs to be done, but because we can't attract more families, we can't attract more business to this community until we address that. You know, I've personally reached out to several different companies recently, within the last week, developers, talking to them about, you know, what we can do to get ready to move forward and building houses for recruiting families and recruiting business. We have opportunity here. We do have an opportunity for growth, a lot of it, but the opportunity is here enough that we could definitely recruit good families just by doing that.
Okay. Ms. Kindoll, you have 60 seconds.
I think the first thing that we have to look at to encourage people or to recruit people to our community, there are several things. The one is the housing issue. Our county is so small, we don't have a lot of potential for a lot of different housing, but we have a lot of housing in the community now that needs to be addressed. We've got a lot of places that are run down, falling down, and nobody wants to come to a community and the first thing you come into the community and you see rundown homes and you see trash piled around. So we would have to clean up the community first. Second of all, I think that we need to look at our quality of life opportunities for people when they come into our community. You know, what recreational opportunities do we have for people coming in here? We need to address that situation. We need to sit down as a whole group and talk with a lot of people in the community, bring all of our outlying communities in, have meetings, and discuss issues on what we can do to improve. But we need to have a plan. The whole thing is we need to sit down together and come up with a plan on what the first thing should be to progress our county.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lewis, you have 60 seconds.
I agree with them. It is the, you know, doing a lot of cleaning up and the trash issue. we have a tremendous amount, it seems, of some Section 8 housing that we need to try to figure out some way to get, some of the landlords and owners to maybe, take a little more responsibility and pride in their properties. Restaurants, we have some fast food. We got Mexican cuisine. That's the majority of what we have. So there's got to be some ways to get some more, eateries in here. And thank you.
Okay, Mr. Bates, you have 60 seconds.
Yes, when you look back on our community where we was 50 years ago, the agriculture base and that kind of thing, and then we switched to the industrial base economy here with the tobacco buyout and farming's kind of went to the side, but still the farming values are there. The land for development is just not available right now. Now, we're beginning to see some of that land since the tobacco buyout's gone and the income being able to get off the land has changed a lot with the demographics that we have, the way it rolls and stuff, road problems. So we're beginning to see some of this land break loose for housing development. Do we need to look at subdivision ordinances where we'll protect people? Absolutely. And I'm certainly want to be a part of that.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bowling, you have 60 seconds.
I understand what you're saying is trying to get it cleaned up, but we have cleaned a lot of it up, but it needs more cleaning. But I think if we could get some more mid-upscale housing, that we could get some growth out of it. And there are some at this time under development in the first district. I also have tried to get some better upgrade restaurants, steakhouses. My response from them is you don't have enough rooftops. You don't have enough people to support it. So that's my findings. So until that changes, we'll have to stand.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Rowlett, you have 60 seconds. Sure. Many people believe Carroll County is stagnant as far as progress in many areas. What are your plans to at least catch Carroll County up to other counties or make them move more progressive?
Well, I can't disagree. We need to clean up first. I mean, how we gonna draw them in here when our roads are trashy all the way in the ditches and everything else? And second is, I talked to a gentleman that owns a restaurant in Smithville about coming to Carroll County, and he said, I can't make a deal with nobody. We got a problem. We need to be able to draw people in here. We need to be able to draw businesses in here. We need to be able to draw restaurants in here. One thing we can draw in, though, we're sitting right on top of a gold mine here. We're right in the middle of 4 major cities. We need to be able, if Madison can do it and Vivi can do it, we ought to be able to draw people in here, to draw income in here to build Carroll County. Make Carroll County grow and give us something, get us out of the muddy water and get us back up where we need to be. Carroll County is someplace I was proud of and always been proud of. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Wise, you have 60 seconds.
Thank you. So my plan is actually to get community members from all around the county, get them together and create a plan. And first and foremost, we must get rid of the nuisances. The nuisances are on every road, every area of our county, and even at our front door. We have to address those. And next, we must find ways to bring restaurants and businesses into our county. That is utmost importance. Without these things, our county is going to continue to get stagnant. We have lots of plans for everything, but the one most important thing is how to make our county grow. We don't have a plan for. We all need to know what that plan is. We need to know how we can help and make a difference in our county. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Cable.
Well, I too am part of the cleanup thing, and that's where it's going to start. But to have this county progress further, the infrastructure has to get better. The housing has to get better. We have to get better at what we do in this county to recruit people to come to this county. When I came here 36 years ago and drove down the street I live on, it was a gorgeous street. To drive down today, it's saddening. We have dilapidated homes, we have places run down, grass is 3 feet tall, and there is no pride. We have to get our pride back before we're going to recruit people in there with pride themselves. And if we do that and make sure our infrastructure can sustain it, we'll draw businesses in, we'll draw restaurants in, and we'll have a great community once again. So until we can do all that, we're probably going to remain stagnant. So we need to get busy and take care of ourselves and straighten us up before we try to get somebody else to do it for us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That completes the round on that question. Our co-sponsors, the FFA, has a question for you, and Clara Tuttle is going to handle this for us.
In recent years, we have all seen a decline in agriculture in our community. How do you feel your office can help to promote and encourage agriculture in Carroll County? Mr. Lewis, you will start with this one. You have 60 seconds. 90 seconds, I'm sorry.
Out of high school, that's I farmed full time. We had 100 acres of tobacco, over 80 head of beef cattle, and that's we done good for a while until the buyout back in the early 2000s. But my son, he was on the some branch out the master settlement agreement where the state divvies out this money from the buyouts down to the counties, and the board that he sat on, they're never into no new ideas. It's always the same old ideas. I mean, just, they don't want to invest in any money and try any like new small projects like the hemp idea was brought up. But it seems like we're always waiting to see what happens with everybody else before we take the lead in this community to do anything and make the first step. So that's what I'm leaning toward is making the first step and not following from behind.
Thank you. Mr. Bates, you have 90 seconds.
Certainly agriculture has seen its own problems, I will say, but with the switch over from tobacco, I thought our community and our state did real well with opening up opportunities for other things with the master tobacco settlement agreement and encouraging investments in other areas of, fruits and vegetables and that kind of stuff. So, we continue to do that. Certainly agriculture is near and dear to my heart. I've worked closely with the ag community my entire life. I've tried it all, so yes.
Thank you. Mr. Bowling, you have a question. In recent years, we have all seen a decline in agriculture in our community. How do you feel your office can help to promote and encourage agriculture in Carroll County? You have 90 seconds.
Well, there's a lot of people raise a lot more vegetables. They're trying different products, different fruits. There's a lot of people planting a lot of trees for shrubs and stuff like that much. But I don't know. There's a big decline in it, but there's a lot of opportunities out there for people to do it. I mean, they have a lot of different plants and seeds that the people are trying and having success at it. So I have kinfolks that has done that, and they've got a big tomato farm. So that's about all I know about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rowlett, you have 90 seconds.
I was born and raised on a farm, and I'm a farmer now. And I hate to say this, but the farmer, as we know, it's a dying breed. When they killed the tobacco program and bought us out on tobacco, the farmers started going another direction. It used to be a farm when I grew up, a farm would support a family. Now a family has to go out and work to support the farm. I would like to see some training come into the county, and I know Kristen has some out here and different ones has some, to start the farmers, the young farmers, into a different way of making a living off the farm. We have the land here. I mean, we have the river bottoms, we have the land, we have every opportunity. If we could get the right training to raise the right produce, young farmers should be able to come up with a way to make a living off the farm. I would love to see farming prosper again. And I'm going to ask everybody, with our dairy farmers, the trouble they're having now, that's one thing in this country we need to keep in our prayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rowlett. Ms. Wise, you have 90 seconds.
Thank you. So again, I think in order to make this really work, I think we need to get everyone together, everyone who has a dog in this fight. Get them together and talk about it and discuss what are some ways we can help you. You can't create a plan unless you understand what are the issues. So some of the things that I just jotted quickly that were just thoughts. Our farmers market. I love our farmers market. Everyone loves our farmers market, but are we promoting it in our government? Is it in the best place is for our farmers? I don't know. Also, there's a program from the farmers to the kitchen. So are there some ways that we could promote that program? And then again, our greenhouses and many other different types of things that might be beneficial for our community. I think we need to work with all of our future farmers, our farmers that are actually farming now, and find out what exactly they need. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cable, you have 90 seconds.
Agriculture has become a tough issue in about every state there is out there. When I was young, we were farmers. We raised tobacco, we raised the wheat, we raised the corn, we done all that. We went through the process like everybody else. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to tell you I know what crops are out there that could be used in alternatives, because I don't. I've been out of farming for over 30 years. I have no idea. I don't even grow them at my house. So I have to say that I would have to rely on our county extension office and go talk to the ladies out there and see what they have to offer as an alternative crop. You might be surprised. I've seen them do some miraculous things out there. And it's there to use. It's there for our benefit, and it's there for the agricultural community to use. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you how to raise a farm or how to raise a crop, because I've been out of it too long and wouldn't even attempt to get back in it. So as far as agriculture is being needing help, they do. And I understand that. It may be the way that the state of Kentucky is going to go. I don't know. I've been watching some of that. I think there's some good potential there for it, to use it. Again, it's not completely been researched out as to what they're going to use it for, but I am willing to go along with it. And as a magistrate, I would help the agricultural community as much as I possibly could. And the farmer's market is a great thing. I've used it myself. I do buy tomatoes and different things from them. They're a great addition to the community. I don't think they're in the right spot, but I believe we need to support agriculture as best we can as a fiscal court and a county. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hembree, you have 90 seconds.
This is a very difficult issue that really spans across the country. More locally on a larger scale. Recently, you can look at Dean's Milk, the issue that they've had with Walmart. Agriculture on a local basis, unfortunately, is on its way out. Just like a lot of small businesses have had trouble in the past due to big corporations. This is something that I don't know how to combat for our local farmers. There are success stories of people in our community who are doing great jobs. Unfortunately, there is not a whole lot of room in Carroll County for a ton of large farmers. Small-scale farming is very difficult to do and support a family on. I do think that the current ag teacher and the extension office is doing an excellent job of promoting agribusiness type education, where we can send these people who are interested in agriculture onto college to learn things or to run businesses like that. It's hard to teach somebody to be a small local beef farmer anymore. Unfortunately, it's very, very hard to do. And I think looking at our alternatives of what is allowing for success is important right now.
Thank you. Ms. Kindoll, you have 90 seconds.
Like most other people in this room, I was born and raised on a farm. Farmers now, there's very, very few full-time farmers. And like the other ones have mentioned before, a lot of it had to go because in our area, with the way our ground and our soil and our land lays, most were tobacco farmers. They brought in a lot of income. But you know, now that we know that's going away, we have to think outside the box. What can we do for agriculture? One thing that we can do as a community is to support our school system and their efforts in their FFA program. There's a lot more to farming than people just think of plowing and that kind of thing. You know, you have people that give tours of farms. You know, the less farms that we have, the more interested a lot of people are becoming in farms. So there's opportunities there. You know, you may want to set up a small petting zoo or something like that and bring people to the farm. Let people see what farm life really is like. We have an excellent extension agents out there. They do a lot of programs revolved around agriculture. I think we just need to continue to encourage our young students to look at different avenues with agriculture. The family farm, there are very limited things in this area that we can do with the family farm other than the farmer's market. That's probably one of the best things that we can do, is to support our farmers that do elect to bring goods to the farmer's market. We need to do a better job of advertising, as someone else mentioned that, and I totally agree. We need to do a much better job at it and have them a permanent spot for their farmer's market.
Okay, thank you. I do also want to thank Clara Tuttle for the question and the support we've had from the Carroll County High School FFA during the 3 nights of the forums. We'll take a 15-minute break now at 7 o'clock. The Carroll County High School Drama Club does still have refreshments, pizza and sodas and drinks out in the hallway. And we'll come back here then and begin with the final part of the night. If you do have questions,